Welcome to Metatripping.
Peace, peace. All right. So, this is an intro that's actually being recorded after the reading that's coming. So it's going to be brief. I don't know if this is my new thing, but I'm just liking the flow of it. There is a pick a card that is available on the other platform, so you can check the link in the description box, and you can always just check that platform because there will be a lot more going up on it. Moving forward, of course, as time permits. I did have to overcome some interference waves and, just some really nonsensical curveballs that threw some things off. But lemons to lemonade, it's actually strengthened the process. So that's how it works when things are attempting to throw you off of higher timelines. You'll find better ladders, you know what I'm saying, if you will, if you redirect your attention and you focus on what energetic passageways are actually, more supportive to your goals. So, definitely keep that in mind, and it does come up a bit in the reading. So the reading that is coming up, you don't really need to check the description box. This is such a short intro. I don't believe I'll be putting up any kind of timestamp for it. It is on the lengthy side, you know what I'm saying? So that if you want to come back when you have more time to listen to it, if you don't have a lot of time right now, it's more so something to, sit back and kind of just absorb what came through the readings and what Spirit chimed in with to help you navigate the energies of the week ahead. There is a lot of hopeful energy, y'all. Beautiful energy. As much as I do the monthlies and I do, the pick a card readings, you know what I'm saying, and some just the overall generalized readings, like this one, it's still when you have to deal with the curveball energies, like what we dealt with the full moon and Gemini waves. It's still pleasantly surprising to me you know what I'm saying? That there are such high frequency energies available. But again, everything is a choice. And, the advice that's coming through, there is definitely some repetition to some of the overall theme that has been coming through, you know what I'm saying, all year. We've been dealing with repetitive situations. You know what I'm saying? We may have unique situations, but they've been repetitive and they've been old timeline based. So what we're dealing with now is a grand opportunity to rise up higher in the waves. So when you have something that's really trying to push you downwards, the impetus and the strength that you can harness to now basically go with that momentum to go upwards, it gets you even higher, you know what I'm saying, than where you were to begin with. So it does, even if sometimes it's a little bit messy and it doesn't feel so hot, having to, do whatever release work or purging work, or really having to put a lot of extra time into metaphysical work to keep your vibes in the right place, it pays off in the end. You know what I'm saying? The higher timeline opportunities this month, you know what I mean, really have been highly supportive, and it all depends on if you're going to tap into that or if you're going to fall back into those old timelines and stay stuck in loops of, worrisome thoughts. I mean, really, it is all about what you're thinking, how those thinking, you know what I'm saying, whatever thought patterns you've created, how that thinking is now has created a mood, an astral place for you to sit in. All right, because it's pretty much what we're talking about when we're talking about mood. You know what I mean? It's what kind of vibration are you sitting in the astral, and what is going to manifest in the physical, mundane realm as a result. So we have been getting this kind of rough, multi-dimensional course, you know what I'm saying, with lessons that have been, we've been able to continue to learn consciously and comprehend things on a certain metaphysical wave that, our intellectual minds can learn to comprehend a little bit better. But a lot of the work has been dealing with quantum embodiment. It's been dealing with our subtle body, and these different dimensional aspects of ourselves becoming strengthened over time under extreme pressure and adversity. We're not going to be under extreme pressure and adversity forever. Pardon. We're not going to be under that adversity, forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what goes up must come down. We deal in cycles. You know what I'm saying? Take the law of rhythm, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stay in a down position with tons of weight on you perpetually. It's not how things work. That's according to Kemetic law. So, and it's very, very true. So I do hope that all y'all are keeping your vibes up to the best of your ability out there, that you're being good to yourselves, because if you're being good to yourself, you're going to be attracting what's going to be good to you. So you always want to keep that like at home base and focus your thoughts on what's actually good for you. So those worrisome thoughts are not good for you. As much as we've been trained to plan ahead, and some line of thought like worrying, this idea that we've been taught that worrying somehow equates to planning for the worst or bracing for the worst. It's not really the move, you know what I'm saying? But you can flip that, and you can, instead of worry, you can affirm where you're going. And since we know the cycle is thought, feeling, and embodiment, now you deal on the wave of going into those thoughts that are going to bring you into the astral space, that mood that is a higher timeline astral space, or at least connective to higher timelines, so that these opportunities literally show up in the flesh, in the mundane realm. And the more you get into the habit, the more it becomes instinct, and pretty soon we ain't gonna have to worry about this old timeline nonsense anymore, because we're not even going to be speaking that language anymore. It'll be a dead language. Our new language is going to be about what we affirm. All right, so thank you all for tuning in. This is being recorded after I've already done the reading, so I have to merge files or whatnot, and it should be seamless. We're going to move on, hopefully. It'll be seamless. I'm doing this. I've done it long enough, I think, that now, you know what I'm saying, I'm knowing how to do it without too much noise or interruption. Without further ado, enjoy the reading ahead, and peace and blessings and happy holidays, whatever your holiday swerve is, because folks have all kinds of different traditions that they like to celebrate. And for some, this is like a festival of lights time, or, you know what I'm saying? It used to be Saturnalia, you know what I mean? So it's interesting to kind of go back and look at where these traditions were actually, what people are en masse kind of celebrating, what those are actually rooted in. All right, y'all. On to the reading. All right, y'all. So, I decided to just go with kind of a general overview for the next week, because there is a pick a card that you'll be able to access if you visit the other platform. The link is in the description box. All right, y'all. Shuffle these cards. All right, so seeing one. This theme keeps coming up. This is very interesting how this theme keeps coming up. All right. Before I fully begin, what we're dealing with in these different waves have a lot to do with self-acceptance. I'm seeing a big old synchronicity just as I said that. The subtext of the I Accept Myself card is alchemy. It's an 8D card. It's a self-mastery card. So the way that this is playing out for everyone, kind of those limitations that we thought were bigger than us, whether it took the form, because these sorts of patterns can take all kinds of forms. You know what I'm saying? The energy can take forms, come through certain relationships, but it does touch on who the actual authority in these situations is. You know what I'm saying? So the illusions, with a lot of what we're working through, what we're releasing, what we're kind of reorganizing our perception of ourselves through as we come up higher in the waves, is these old restrictive, punishing types of energies. You understand what I'm saying? These can be like authority type figures, or people to whom like we in some way look up to or have in the past sought approval from. These situations, people that were unyielding, and in some cases cruel. This is part of the theme of what we're working through this week, and kind of the way it's being relayed now. So this is like an overall, it's not being split up into personalized groups. You can get like the personalized group message of how this will affect you. It's still generalized, but you know what I'm saying. It's pick a card style on the other platform for the week. Looking at the week ahead. The theme here is coming up. I accept myself, and it's alchemy. So you're going through alchemy as you shed these perceived limitations that have come from naysayers, that have come from authority figures or people to whom we've looked up to, who have been, I would have to say, petty. Really, is the way the energy is. Who really weren't rightfully in any kind of position of authority to be looking down upon us. You are capable, and the subtext being fortitude is beside this card. Spirit had me pull 2 for the theme. And what this is suggesting is you don't have to cower to anything or anyone that is attempting to stand in the way and block your path and make you feel like you're less, like you're not capable, like you can't get where you're going. Anything attempting to minimize you. So it's still, that theme that we had to deal with those full moon and Gemini waves, where we really had to go into that 1D level of existential self. I don't know what's going on with me this morning. I guess I had my water, but I haven't had my coffee. That level of self where we had to get in touch with our spark there and draw in the light, because this has been the part of us that has been beaten down. You know what I'm saying? By life circumstances, but typically under a theme. So you are capable is telling you don't have to cower to these things. And further, and I'm getting the acknowledgement from Spirit on that, you can go around them. You can find other passageways, other access points to better situations. So, these things which people, places, and things which have acted as blocks to you, they're like dissolving, disintegrating, however you want to put it. The less energy you feed them, the better. You have the fortitude from basically any abuses you had to endure this year through these situations where we dipped back into these retrogrades so often, and they were intense retrogrades. And what took place in those retrogrades, like the advantage that was taken by those who wanted to come at the situation corruptly and entrap people into lower timeline kind of, imprisoning situations, connections, jobs, what have you. They inadvertently helped us to build strengths that are now rising up within us as, we reclaim our energy, as we enjoy soul retrieval, enjoy pieces of ourselves coming back to us that were being held by others unjustly. So as much as, there can be, I want to be careful with my words, there can be a little bit of difficulty in these waves because there's still that aspect of self that has gone through it. and has been struggling and suffering and tired, you know what I'm saying, of going through these cycles. But you have the fortitude. So it is a lot of what I've noticed with this process, a lot of it is redirection, where you redirect your focus to basically like what is good and what is for you, until it becomes so much of an ingrained habit. You don't have to triple think it anymore. You don't have to constantly go through doing affirmations or meditation sessions under the same themes of self-acceptance, because you'll have won back those aspects of yourselves that have been held captive and used and abused to make it, simple and plain. And the more you come up from those waves, those negative, you know what I'm saying, the negativity and the corruption in those deep wave energies, you'll come up to the brilliance of your higher timelines that is reflecting this indomitable part of you that kept going. You understand what I'm saying? So all of the work that you have done, and I know I've said it before, like, it's not for nothing. It was a massive illusion and plenty of delusions that we were put through, and we had to maintain ourselves. We had to hold on to ourselves in this process. And when you can handle that, you build within yourself the capacity to deal with whatever comes in the future. Now you have sharpened powers of discernment, and it's on a level, it's not like the last era. You know what I'm saying? It's on a multidimensional level. So when we talk about different entities that, and I don't get into that much because I don't feel like it really serves the process to place a lot of attention on low vibrational entities or low vibrational dimensional factions that are, kind of attempting to mess with people. I don't get into the particulars of that very often, for the simple fact that they don't have the power that faction has been enjoying for far too long came from us, and we've been doing the work to reclaim it. You understand what I'm saying? So moving forward, there is no power at that level. There really isn't going to be the same level of power to even wield illusion, because we can see through it. And even people who aren't, putting this into practice, you see it in the world where people are waking up and they're like, wait, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Come on now. With politically, you know what I'm saying? Sociopolitically, with the different attempts that, were attempting to drag us into, like, a very jacked up place in society. And there was a lot of compounded energy that was on people's heads, really trying to convince us that we're going in that direction. And when you know that all is mind, you realize that, there can be power in that if you feed into it. If the masses feed into this idea that we're going into this really jacked up, low vibrational wave of energies, and the world's about to just go through this hard period, and that sort of thing, and you feed it and you feed it and you feed it, you actually empower that in the astral so it can manifest here. So this is why it is so important, when you're putting the work into practice, to actually be in touch with the higher timelines, because that is what we're bringing into manifestation. And there are plenty of people who have been putting in the work towards that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the efforts that, and it does seem, especially like when I had to come across certain type individuals and entities who were smug. I don't know any other word right now to use but smug. Like, really thought like they were winning with some unjust intentions. Really thought they were winning. And it's like, joke's on them. Because we're not weak. And like those on the starseed journey, we certainly didn't come into bodies and hard life paths just to lose. Not with what we're equipped with. So this reading is meant to be uplifting, because we are lifting up. And even if you are feeling some of those heavy densities of the past timelines and different people that are associated with it, and even some new people that might have tried to jump into those energy patterns, know that you can redirect your attention, and you can absolutely, like, night and day, move into the energies that are supportive and illuminating. It's because the work, we've been putting in the work towards it. You understand what I'm saying? So that it's available astrally and it's going to manifest here. It just depends on where you want to be in the equation. All right, y'all. So that's the underlying theme of this reading. Moving on to the right hemisphere, or the yang focus, or the divine masculine frequency or embodiment, divine masculine consciousness, that spirited aspect of us. The card that comes up is 4D, so there's heart work being done, but it's you decide your purpose is the card that came up. It's the 19th card in the sacred blooming suit. So this is past the seed level. This is where you're beginning to see yourself blooming with all of the hard work you've put in on that divine masculine level that's within us, and also you'll see it with divine masculine embodiments, who stayed the course. Heart mission is the subtext. Heart mission is the subtext. So there's going to be a lot of renewal energy coming in. I would use the word inspiration, but the way it feels, I guess you could say inspiration. But it's more, I don't know, it feels more hydrating, more like those aspects of yourself that were just where you felt like you were being bled dry are being hydrated and renewed again. So you're having this energy come in and refill you. And as that takes place, your mind is coming, certain aspects of your mind that have really kind of been suffering, to whatever degree, depending on how much practice you've been putting in with your metaphysical work. The aspects of the mind that have been worrying, that have been concerned about negative things taking place in the future, and have, maybe had some slippery moments with either slightly falling into some old patterns or just skirting the line of falling into some old patterns and ways of approaching and perceiving, your life path. Those areas are coming online now as you come more and more into that energy that is really hydrating you, and it's like hydrating you with light, really. And you're realizing some of it feels energetically like kind of it's not so bad type of consciousness. So some of the situations you thought were going to go in the very worst direction probably are not going to be going in the very worst direction. And so that's going to give you more of a bolster to your heart. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're dealing with certain levels of 4D work here. It's still like kind of a mid 4D type of level according to what Spirit is giving me. So Spirit is saying, like, for the next week, like, we're going to be, like, moving past that. But for the next week, that's pretty much what's going to be going on in the divine masculine frequency. So even for those who may have kind of fallen back into old timelines, this will represent opportunities, and it's up to you to believe in the viability of them. It really and truly is. Something I wanted to mention, and I think because I don't know if it's the new habit, but I'm doing the readings first, and then I'm doing the intro after, and then merging them together in my mixing program. So one of the things I want to mention is when people were talking about World War III, but what was coming up, there were people who were saying World War III is going to be a war of the mind. And quite literally, that's what we've been dealing with. I'm not saying it's World War III, y'all. I'm just saying we've been dealing with a war of the mind. So when we keep coming back to mastery of mind, it keeps coming through Spirit. You got to master your mind. Like, if you want to get past these things that are happening, you got to master your mind, because these are not... It's not the typical framework from before. This is a multi-dimensional framework. That's why things have been so weird. That's why we've been timeline jumping. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not we have wanted to, going to sleep and things are a certain way, and then waking up and it feels like a completely different wave, and like, having to get reoriented, having to balance ourselves, work on the different aspects that come up in the situations at that time on whatever dimensional level we find ourselves in, according to whatever waves are at play. It is really and truly up to you. I do get the vibe that Spirit is clarifying, in most of your cases, even those of you who've fallen back a little bit into old timelines are going to get a helping hand. That came up in the monthly, like there were going to be a lot of supportive energies available. All right, so yes, the full moon threw a lot of things for a loop, but it did serve us. It served us. It gave us an opportunity to draw in the light to that aspect of ourselves that really was under attack. And well, Spirit is saying was like, you know what I'm saying? Like being subjugated. You know what I mean? So, throwing off those captor energies so that we're no longer in, a subjugation phase through however the captor appeared. You know what I'm saying? Some of these were relationships, and it's not always romantic relationships. It's just whoever was imprisoning your energy. You know what I'm saying? And then the beliefs that you were feeding into it, that somehow it was going to be so hard to get out of it, or worse, that you couldn't. So now, even though this is a reading for the week ahead, Spirit is giving me, like, even moving into next year. So it's not, because there's a little more than a week before we reach the Matrix New Year, because it's not spring, but it's when the clocks flip on the the Gregorian calendar and it becomes 2020, right? So there's going to be a lot of assistance available for getting onto your higher timelines. Work with it. Please avoid falling into any idea of defeat. You are not defeated. You are not defeated. Recognize game. Recognize the astral game that has been played. And the more you awaken to the reality of these things, you know what I'm saying, you can rise above them more and more. And it does become instinct, y'all. Like, starting out with this thing, it was highly disorienting for me as I was dealing with certain activations. Highly disorienting. And I had to rely on Spirit's guidance, and I also had to rely on some of the instincts that I was very surprised were even there when I got into certain situations. Like, how did I know that? You know what I'm saying? Or how did I have that reflex when I was just in certain spiritual warfare situations? And my reflexes, there were reflexes there that assisted me in these situations. You know what I'm saying? So the more you come into awareness of what reality really is, the more you're going to be in an empowerment wave of how to deal with it. And all of these stresses and strains only serves to make you stronger. I don't say that to be annoying, because it was hard. Trust and believe, y'all, I know it was hard. I have dealt with some astral sucker punches, if you will, like you would not believe, in some attempts to really really come at my heart. You know what I'm saying? In a way where, like, I continually give thanks to Spirit when Spirit was like, redirect your attention. It's time to go into meditation. Because if I had fed into the game that was being played at that time, and sometimes these little astral games get played and it's totally unconscious with the people that are involved in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're being puppeted or what have you. And if you feed into it, you get to create, or recreate a cycle or a dynamic that can go on to be a thing for a while, that will throw off whatever it is you're trying to work on, which basically constitutes your higher timeline work. You know what I'm saying? And you can get pulled down. And it was challenging this year because it was so repetitive, and it kept coming, these different situations kept coming up. So we had to find that way to persevere, find that way to, like, when you're doing crunches or whatever, like, keep going. Even if it, it burns. Keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because you do break through. You break past that idea or pain limitation in the body, and you realize you're now capable, and you're now capable at another level. You've just mastered a level, now you're moving up to another one. And it's no different with this, you know what I'm saying? With this quantum embodiment process. All of the strength that we've built is going to go on to serve us in these multidimensional experiences that are getting ready to, you know what I'm saying? Is expand the right word? Spirit is confirming, like, expand. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to be afraid of. All right, y'all. Let me see what else is coming up with the divine masculine frequency. Yeah, it's just really a renewal. To put it simple and plain, a renewal of spirit energies. A realization, a reclamation of your strengths, your abilities, your talents, the fact that you can, it's not even, I don't even know if it's about overcoming anymore, but the fact that you can move forward and you can progress. There's vitality that's returning. So this vitality that's returning is on a wave, you know what I'm saying, that it represents, certain levels of abundance and a higher seat, you know what I'm saying, in your, what would we call it? Your perceptions of empowered self. And basically, so Spirit's saying, like, realizing, like, you can handle what's thrown at you. And I think that that's profound when you really stop and think about it, because that simple realization is a multi-problem solution. Realizing that you can handle anything that's thrown at you takes away any kind of sting that, any opposition would attempt to come at you with, because you're in the mind of the victor. Seeing a big old synchronicity. You see what I'm saying? So at that point, if there are things you have to learn, if there are new skills to acquire, and it's life. We're supposed to evolve. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to continue putting in the work, in your own life, whether it's metaphysical work or just regular work. I mean, like, what's the point coming down here if you're not going to develop? A mentor of mine had called this world some years ago, but a stepping stone. And at that time I did not quite understand, because I didn't understand on a conscious level the astral layout of things. I didn't get it like I get it now. But I get it now, because any world you go on to after this, you take whatever you build, what you earn here within yourself, you take that with you. That's what can't be taken away. They'll say you can't bring your money with you. You can't bring your possessions, your belongings, but you can bring what you earn in the form of skills. Like, you can bring your skills with you. That comes with you from, if you want to incarnate here again, if that's your swerve. I don't know if I'm trying to come here again, to be honest with you, but you still would be coming with the skills you build. You feel me? And anywhere you go. And so from that point, whatever would attempt to destroy whatever it is you make, it doesn't really matter, because you can always rebuild. So developing yourself is always to your benefit, anything that you're interested in. And it doesn't matter whether or not the people around you think that it suits you or not. Go at it. You want to sing, the people around you, are like, oh, that's cute. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's a talent. I don't know if you could build that. Sure you can. If you feel it within you, you know what I'm saying? Then start working with it. You know what I mean? You want to learn piano? Learn piano. You want to perfect dance, like you want to learn like actual like techniques and dance styles. Go on ahead and do that. Who was it? I think the sister's name is Missy Copeland, and she's a ballerina. And I need to go and watch like the documentary. But the gist of it is, they gave her a hard time. You know what I'm saying? But homegirl's doing her thing regardless. Like, whatever your dream is that's calling you is pushing you towards, build the skills, you know what I'm saying, and handle your business, because you can. And you take that with you. All right? So I'm going to move on to, is there anything else for the Divine Masculine? So Spirit is counseling for the Divine Masculine and for your Divine Masculine essence or frequency within. Sleep, get enough sleep. And Spirit is saying, like, whatever needs to be worked on, like, your teams will be working on you in your sleep. And water. And I have been, like, of the sudden, I was like, I don't drink this much water. All of a sudden, this has been my new swerve. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been drinking water like it's going out of style. So it's interesting that Spirit is saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big thing. And so now we're going to move, to be focusing on. And, as you're being worked on and that sort of thing, because we've been dealing with purges, you know what I mean? And we're coming into a higher level, you know what I'm saying, of frequency. and vibration, from what Spirit is saying. So that water is going to help the process, whatever quantum embodiment needs to take place, whatever upgrades, what I'm saying, need to take place, any downloads that you need to integrate, what I'm saying, it's going to help, all right? So do yourself a favor. And if you don't like the taste of water, like, what I do lemon water, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can do either or at this point, but, like, lemon water, like, you can put a little bit of lemon in it, or lime, you know what I'm saying? There's ways that you can, and I feel like I like it more, it's even better that way, in my opinion, but, that can help for those of y'all who are not in a water drinking wave to like, get into it a little bit more. That's really good for your skin as well, for those of y'all that are concerned about that. All right, moving to the divine feminine frequency, we have allow yourself to be cared for, and the subtext of this card is receptivity, and it's 2D. All right, so this is like, along the lines of that inner child aspect that really needs to be loved and nurtured and held right now. Watch out, all right? Watch out for anyone who is kind of who can kind of see your vulnerabilities, any divine feminine embodiments, or those of you who are holding a lot of divine feminine energy. This is also the left hemisphere of the brain. Watch out for those people who may be acting like they're nurturers to you, or like they're here to take care of you and make you feel better, and you know what I'm saying, help you tend your wounds and what have you, because in some of these cases, I don't want to say all, you can check your gut on that, your gut's always going to tell you if something's right or wrong. There is an ulterior motive in some of these cases, all right? And sometimes people can spot certain things about you that you need, and if they're, a little bit on that narcissistic spectrum or the sociopathic spectrum, they will use it. And they'll use it to get firmly and deeply entrenched in your psyche. You know what I'm saying? As someone who is there for you. And then they'll throw it back in your face later when you want to spread your wings, or come away from whatever ties they've tried to attach to you. After, you know what I'm saying, I did this and I picked you up and I da-da-da-da and that sort of thing. That guilt ray type of situation where, it's just not necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not necessary. So do watch out for that, because there are tender aspects of ourselves that right now are clearing, and they're a little bit exposed. You know what I'm saying? This happened a little bit. This was going on a little bit in November too. With just a moment. With the clearing, Spirit is saying. Okay, so Spirit is saying, like, for people that wanted to form ties with you and wanted to access the very vulnerable parts of you, to do it. And in some of those waves that were there in November, you know what I'm saying? Like, those very vulnerable aspects of ourselves, we were working through some of that. Just a moment. Spirit is saying you'll be able to clear them off. You just have to be true to yourself. You have to ask yourself if you feel stifled or cared for, is what Spirit is saying. Is this person trying to support you, or is this person trying to own you? Spirit is saying there's a distinction, and there certainly is. People that are trying to help you or assist you don't demand that you remain chained to them. Okay? Really think about that. You know what I'm saying? So, if you found yourself in certain types of friendships or romantic connections or what have you with people who might have been there for you at a hard moment and offered some solace or gave you an ear or even offered you like some sort of material assistance, it doesn't give them license to know where you are every second of the day, blow up your phone, harass you, guilt trip you, and you know what I'm saying, until the cows come home, go through your phone, you know the routine, stalk you, really try to beat you down for not, I don't know, like becoming their possession. There were some very scorpionic energies going on, and sometimes when you form ties in that, and it's not, I don't believe that that's always the way that it is in those scorpionic ties. Sometimes there are very deep and enduring, like spiritual bonds, like soul level bonds that are real, that transcend death, even, that can have that scorpionic flavor, that deep in intimacy, but there's a mutual respect there, and there's a love there, and it's not, it's like a free flow of like, you be real with me, I be real with you, because when Scorpio's in its high vibrational energies, it's not about deception, it's about what's real and what's true here. You know what I'm saying? Forming bonds in those types of waves, you really want to know which you're dealing with. Are you dealing with someone who has a lot of emotional baggage and who kind of tries to trap people into relationships or friendships or what have you? You can see narcissistic energies rise up there. You can see sociopathic energies rise up there. People who are damaged and really need to kind of work on their hearts and work on themselves, but don't. They go the low vibrational route, and they try to play out their traumas with other people actively. Like, you have people that actively do this. Obviously, it's, largely unconscious in terms of like the motivations and what have you. But, be careful for those sorts, you know what I'm saying? Because, as they pop up, and it looks like, this week, that sort of thing could be at play for some of y'all. You want to listen to yourself and what your intuition is saying. If something doesn't quite feel right, it ain't. Like I was saying at the in the full moon Gemini upload, like if it feels shady, it's shady. Like that, that came through in that upload. You know what I'm saying? If it feels shady, it's shady. So this is where you get to flex your intuitive muscles and your intuition. And yes, it's from a 2D place, a 2D aspect of you. It's very tender. It's a very innocent aspect of you. It's an aspect of you that has gone through it emotionally. So you want to be gentle with yourself, and if you need your space, then you take your space. If and anyone who truly cares about you, all you've got to say is like, yo, I really need my headspace right now, or I really need a rest right now. And people who are really and truly in your corner are going to be like, oh, word, well, all right, no problem at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be a, no, I need you to for me right now type of thing. You feel me? It's not going to be a dominator or manipulator situation. On the flip, for those of you who won't be doing that, or dealing with that, or I should say, the other energies that are available, really be tender and gentle with yourself this week on the divine feminine side of things. This is the emotional side. This is the yin space side. And really follow, if you feel overwhelmed in any situation, especially y'all empaths out there, highly sensitive individuals, listen to yourself. Like, listen to that aspect of you that's like, I can't, maybe somebody's like, yo, let's go to the mall, or let's go where there's like lots of people and energy during holiday time. If you ain't there for it, if you don't feel like you can deal with all of that energy, because you're going to have to come home and clear it, then just communicate that. Can we do something quieter? Can we do something a little more low impact? You could find that you're much more sensitive energetically this week. So focus on, just a moment, honoring your pace. Focus on, you know what I would say? The Spirit's confirming. Treat yourself, treat that part of you, that energetic sensitivity, the way you would like it to be treated by others. Because at the end of the day, when you set the bar, you set the bar. So when you set the bar at, there's a certain pace that I'm going to have to take right now, And there's a certain level of peace that I'm going to require right now. When you give that to yourself, you attract situations and people that honor that as well. All right, so being really good to yourself this week is a great idea, and allowing yourself to be cared for without getting sucked into anything that's not right. All right, so I do have to give that warning because it was the very first thing that popped up when I tuned into this card. You do want to watch out for, any wolves in sheep's clothing, because unfortunately I feel those energies are still, circling. You know what I'm saying? But if you're good to yourself and you're listening to your vibes, you're going to know how to sidestep them. You see if anything else is coming up. So Spirit is saying, the dream waves, your dream space, that there are going to be, just a moment. For most of y'all, there are going to be high frequency beings that are assisting you onto higher timelines in your dream space. So spirit is saying, like, sleep as much as you need to, because the spirit world's going to be doing a lot of work for you, for us. You know what I'm saying? Spirit world's going to be doing a lot of work for us. So again, the title of this card is Allow Yourself to be Cared For, and receptivity is the subtext. So if you set the intention that you are receptive to that which is truly good for you, then that is your invitation to that which is truly good for you to connect with you. And it's far better for you to connect that way than to find yourself inadvertently connecting with vampiric types that are kind of just setting something up for later problems when they unmask themselves and show themselves to be dominators, manipulators, and that sort of thing, that aren't trying to let go. So any relationships you formed during the scorpionic waves, you know what I'm saying, like in October and November, keep an eye on them joints. I'm not saying keep your attention on them hard body. Put your attention on what's good. You know what I'm saying? But, like, just, be aware. Like, kind of when you just have that edge of your consciousness is just aware. Pay attention to your intuition, just in case there are any flare-ups or any nonsense situations, or just any attempts to kind of deepen any hooks into you or get any hooks into you. Is there anything else? All right, so what's coming through Spirit, and this doesn't always come through, so it's definitely worth working with, is there are angelic frequencies that you can get into a connection with for, this healing of this very deep aspect of yourself, and who is coming through, and it has actually come through for one of the groups on the reading on the other platform, but Uriel and Raphael, and both are archangels, can assist with, like, deep healing, and upliftment in general. So, just a moment. So if you feel like you've fallen very low in the waves, they can actually just, like, lift you up higher in the waves, like, beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and Spirit's saying, and work with you until, like, you're ready to kind of stand on your own. So, that's a fairly big deal if you have archangelic energies, that are coming through as something to work with to assist that very sensitive aspect of you that is healing and regaining its light. It can really help to eradicate some of the extremely low frequency situations, people, places, and things that you might feel like you're caught up in. And miracles can come along with that stuff, I would just like to add. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, when you get into certain waves and you're really high up in frequency, when there's such a contrast, especially if there's, like, really extra low frequencies trying to drag you down, like, the contrast there really can bring through some miracles when you're high up in the waves and you're, going up as opposed to following that gravity, corrupt gravity magnetism trying to pull you down. All right. Is there anything else? Get plenty of sleep. Spirit is saying for y'all too, divine feminines. And Spirit is saying be very, very gentle with yourself. It is very important. Anything that's like harsh or critical, it's not for you right now. You don't need that, and it's not helping your path. All right, y'all? All right, so we're going to look at what you're embodying, because that's pretty much for the overall. There's going to be a lot of embodiment this week at a 4D level, and that I would say that must really be connecting a lot with that 4D from the divine masculine frequency. Spirit is saying they're connected, yeah. It's at the sacred seed level, just like the divine feminine's frequency this week, or vibration is dealing with that seed level of self, those seed level aspects. Be honest with yourself is the card. The subtext is illuminate. So through the process of being honest with yourself over a number of things that come up, and these can be very old thoughts and memories, you're going to find yourself more and more, the way the energy feels, like empowered. It really has that reclamation feel that keeps coming up as a theme. It has that reclamation feel, like some aha moments from situations that were really trying to confound and confuse you, where you have like that the motivation, the drive starts to come up, where it's like, oh, okay, I see exactly what's going on here. So you get your power back. It really feels like a getting your power back type of process of being honest with yourself in this case, because it can play out differently depending on, what reading is happening when the card comes out. But here, it really is that. It's like getting your power back, reclaiming yourself, like, from the lies. And I think probably in a lot of your cases, Spirit's confirming the lies of others, you know what I'm saying? And any lies you fed into yourself. So it's very, very positive, but this is going to be a theme this week. And you're going to get more and more in touch with your fire, and that, because we've been having, motivation issues and that kind of thing. This is assisting that process, because the light can come back into you, because you're not walking around with all of this unreal, with these unreal, undead timeline, weights holding you down unnecessarily. Like they don't even have a reason. There's nothing justifiable to it. You know what I'm saying? These things were supposed to have been let go. You know what I mean? So in some cases we had to push through them or redirect our attention around them, because we were dealing with people, places, and things that just would not let go, or just would not come up off of the BS. You know what I'm saying? In any given area of life, wherever it's playing out for you, or wherever it's been playing out for you particularly, or if it's multiple areas, the multiple areas it's been playing out for you in particular. So this is going to be very liberating, is the way that it feels. And of course, watch your reactions. You don't want to get too fiery in the wrong way. Absorb that energy. Feel allow the power to come back in, you know what I'm saying, and stay. You don't have to turn around and get into arguments and conflicts and then create more energetic entanglements with it. It's not what you want to do. So I would say in this case, in the spirit of saying it's good advice, I guess what I'm about to say, how you would deal with when 90 days would come up, it's a little bit similar the way this energy is kind of feeling. It's in a 4D place. It's at a heart level, but it's kind of like you could use this to now engage in setting the record straight and confrontations and what have you. You really could use the energy that comes up for that, but for what? I think in a lot of these cases, these people do not care. These people, places, and things do not care about the truth. So it's just better to pull your energy, you know what I'm saying, inward, and put it towards what you really care about. I mean, if you really feel like you have to have your say, but don't let anyone get your goat, and certainly don't come out of your character with it, and don't waste too much energy on it. Make it very brief. I would advise. And sometimes the strongest way to say something is to say nothing at all and just remove yourself from the equation and leave the people, places, or things involved with their own question marks and their own self-navigation, where they have to go in and figure it out, because they're probably not going to listen if you come to them and bring it to them head on. You know what I'm saying? But if they're left with the mystery of it, they have no choice but to think of it. So this is the whole silence is golden thing. Well, Spirit is saying you can get things off your chest if you need to. But don't get pulled into arguments. So there's an art to that, and there's a fine line. All right, y'all. A little bit of up-leveling will be taking place. And Friday was the day when I first started the reading that I was being given. So there's going to be some significance to Friday to how this works out. And it is Power Spark, and Motivation is the subtext. It's a 3D card, actually. So, this is... I think for some of y'all, it's actually going to be positively motivational, where there are opportunities you can jump on and you feel ready, and you have this energy you've been reclaiming to put towards it. So I'm picking up a lot of opportunity energy around it. On the other side of things, I think you could go back and have conflicts, with people with this energy, again, where you feel like you need to settle a score or set the record straight, but do you really need to do that? Or are there better timeline situations that you can be connecting with? You know what I'm saying? So, let's see, is there anything else? The Spirit is just saying you're really going to see your strength rising up. It'll be self-affirming. And Spirit's saying use that strength for what is good for you. Because it's paving your path. And you're going to be very glad that you use the energy the right way, if you choose to. All right, and Spirit's concluding there. All right, y'all, so there's a lot of, that self-acceptance energy and that reclamation energy in the air this week. And it's a beautiful thing. So get into the wave. And, if you feel particularly tender at times, remember, there are actually archangelic energies you can call upon to assist, you know what I'm saying, in any situations that have a particularly, heavy or dense magnetism trying to pull you downward. Yeah, Spirit is confirming the whole what we're supposed to be doing right now, or the best way to be doing this is to go up. You want to keep going up, keep on working with the stones that have high frequencies. So quartz crystal is always good. Amethyst. I was gonna say citrine. You know what I'm saying? I think that depends. If you have solar plexus work, you know what I'm saying? If you really need to strengthen your solar plexus. Let's see what else. Okay, well, Spirit is saying those are pretty much the ones that are being suggested. All right, in high frequency colors violet. Getting into that crown chakra wave. Those of you that have the Quantum Root Oracle, you can set your intention to meditate with the Star Crown card, and it opens the energetic pathway, and that is extremely helpful. I've been working with it a lot, y'all, and it's helped me tremendously. So, between that and amethyst, I feel you really can't go wrong. And if you need to feel... if you really do need to get in touch with a motivation to move forward, then deal with that garnet, because the stones this month that were recommended just for the month, the energies of the month, were amethyst, garnet, and jade. And jade was really good for a certain level of grounding. But right now, just the way the wave is, it's about moving upwards and coming into motivation and moving forward. So the garnet is it'll help to give you like your physical stamina, help to get you in touch with more so your passion, what you actually desire. So you go towards that as opposed to, any entrapments that are trying to pull you into what someone else desires for you. So I hope that this was helpful, y'all. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you peace and blessings on your journey. And if you old and new subscribers, remember that the bell, if it's ticked, you'll get your notifications that a reading has dropped or an energy transmission, because I do plan to be putting up some energy transmissions on this channel, and there's some other things that I would rather not announce so that I don't have to deal with any unnecessary curveballs of interference. But there's some other Ascension tools that I want to be putting up more. So that is coming. And if you don't have it ticked, then you'll just be dealing with YouTube algorithms, and you'll have to remember to check back to see if readings are posted, just because of the wave that YouTube is dealing with right now. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings.